So, it's been about a month since Deltarune's chapters 3 and 4 dropped, and everyone kinda lost their minds digesting everything these two lore-heavy, packed bombshells had to offer. The characters, the music, and of course, the lore. But the main thing I think most people wanted to see more of was the weird route, or Snowgrave route, that was introduced in chapter 2. And yeah, I feel like no one can really decide which name to go with, and after chapters 3 and 4, it's even more confusing now. So yep, this is another weird route slash Snowgrave video clogging your feed. But hold on, I'm not here just to retell what happens in the game for the 80th time like you've already seen. I'm here to talk about something I haven't seen many people cover outside of one YouTube short by Mystic Slime. You probably already know who he is, if you're a fan of Deltarune or Undertale, but if you don't, definitely check him out, as his short Deltarune's Future Weird Routes. Heads up, I'm gonna be saying weird way more times than I should in this video. What's the spark for this video? I'll keep it brief so I don't just recap his whole short, but there are a lot of things he had missed or didn't show purposefully, and some of the things make way more sense now than they did when his short first dropped. In that short, Mystic Slime talks about one of the many hidden Deltarune.com pages, deltarune.com/chapter 5, which this page showed some cryptic stuff shortly before the releases of chapters 3 and 4. He points out the different numbers on the page and clicks on the 2, which links to an audio file, but he also brings up a theory, one I think has way more merit than people realized at the time. We'll get into that in just a second though. However, after watching that short, I immediately rushed to my PC to check out the page myself. The first thing I noticed were the three main numbers, 2, 4, and 5, clearly visible. But then I noticed 3, which was hardly visible, and I initially thought it wasn't there before, but I'm pretty sure it's always been there. You just have to mess with your brightness. I just so happened to have my monitor's eye saver mode on high, which made it stand out right away without needing any highlighting. If you do highlight the page, you'll see the numbers 1 and 3 become clearly visible as well. We first immediately need to discuss how all of the numbers are different sizes, of course, leading into that previously mentioned theory that these numbers might signify the importance of the weird route in each respective chapter number. 1 being the smallest makes sense, since chapter 1 has no weird route or alternative path that the player can take. 2 being the largest is because that's where the weird route started, as well as having the most significant impact to the story. Clicking on 2 takes you to a play button. When you press it, you hear this audio clip. The file, when downloaded, is titled D.mp3, which matches the D.ogg track played during the Birdly fight in Chapter 2's Weird Route. Now, typically naming conventions don't actually matter in Deltarune. Some of them are literally just jokes, so I wouldn't really take the letters in each of these too seriously. 3, while almost invisible, is the same as 2. That got me thinking, why would it be just as large if Chapter 3 doesn't continue the route at all? Well, I think the answer is 3 is full of references and ties to the weird route and the story it tells, even if there's no direct continuation happening yet. Some even call it the sword route. When you click on 3, you get another play button. This time, it plays a sound effect. Have a listen. This audio, when downloaded, is called ma.mp3. Don't get hung up on the names, however, as like I said, they don't really matter. As is tradition with us Deltarune fans, I messed around with the speed and pitch and realized it sounds a lot like a sound effect used in the Chapter 3 Secret Shadow Mantle creature boss fight, specifically when the background changes to signal the next phase. Here's a comparison of the sound effect I think it is, and my edited version of this sound effect from the website. Clearly, they sound a lot alike, but I couldn't find any other use for this sound effect outside of the boss fight. But if anyone knows another place it was used in the game, please let me know in the comments. Next, clicking the number 4 brings you to a screen with a tiny red square. This red square is a direct reference to the scene in Chapter 4's Weird Route, in which you choose to think about Noelle. Quick bonus detail, if you add /thank you to the URL, you go to a page that just says thank you. Of course, this being a reference to the Think About Noel scene from chapter 4. We see that 4 is smaller than 2 and 5, which to me means that chapter 4 did have some weird route continuation scenes, but not any major player-driven actions like chapter 2 did. Like, you're not going around freezing enemies or controlling Noel in the party. Need more evidence? Just try going to these URLs. Deltarune.com/chapter1 says not applicable. Deltarune.com/chapter2 says applicable. Chapter 3 again says not applicable. Chapter 4 brings you to the page with the red square. Finally, time to talk about number 5, which is the last visible number and the third biggest. Clicking it brings up one last audio file. This audio file is titled H.mp3. This clip sounds like a soft guitar tune, which immediately makes me think of Des.
Do I run over this liberal, or do I drive around him? What do you think?
Guitars are usually tied to the Holiday family, especially Des, or Chris, if you count the second physical challenge in Chapter 3, where Chris does use a guitar while a Lost Girls motif plays during Raise Your Bat. As a bonus, I also edited this audio just a little bit to bring out what I think might be the normal version of this track. Have a listen. Okay, so here's where things are going to get a little bit speculative, because we don't exactly know where this track will play or when, since Chapter 5 doesn't drop until next year. However, we can mention the size of the number 5. It's bigger than 4, which had weird route scenes, but smaller than 2, which had the start and most direct weird route content. To me, this strongly hints that Chapter 5 will include more weird route content than the last 2 parts that just released, but probably nothing as massive or as brutal as like freezing Birdly or another Lightner character. You may now be asking, Deltarune has 7 chapters, right? So where are 6 and 7? Well, this might be a sign that Chapter 5 is actually the end of the Weird Route shenanigans. This would line up with Toby Fox's vague statement that Deltarune would only have one ending. Maybe the toxic relationship between Chris and Noel ends here? Maybe Noel finally stands up for herself, and we don't see her much for the rest of the game. I mean, how much more could we realistically do on this route without turning it into Undertale genocide levels of absurdity, where we just have Noel freezing literally everyone? Personally, I think that'd be kind of fucking cool, but it's definitely veering more into fangame or fanfic territory compared to how Deltarune's been structured so far. I really do not think we'll keep torturing Noel beyond Chapter 5. Anyway, that's everything I found interesting about the Chapter 5 website page. If you made it this far, let me know if you found anything on the site that I might have missed during my research. And to everyone who's obsessed with the Weird Route, keep an eye on this page as Chapter 5's release gets closer. There might be even more secrets in the future. Drop your own thoughts and crazy crackpot theories down in the comments, and as always, have an amazing night. Oh, and subscribe and like the video if you want more stuff Deltarune related like this. Yeah.